Terra Cresta 2 is one of those games you don't just stumble into. You basically have to fall down a retro gaming rabbit hole and hit your head on it. It was released only in Japan on the PC Engine on November 27th, 1992, which is probably why you've never heard of it. I didn't either until I started my month-long Cresta marathon. I played Moon Cresta, then Terra Cresta, and now I've reached the third game in the series. And honestly, this one shocked me. It's way more complex, and way more polished, and way more interesting than I expected. So before we dive in, let me talk about the console this thing launched on. You see, the game came out on the PC Engine, which, if you live in America, you probably have no idea what that is. Because when it was brought over to America, it was renamed the TurboGrafx 16. And even then, most people didn't have one. The console flopped spectacularly in America, but in Japan, it did pretty well. Also, most of the PC Engine's best games are Japanese exclusive, which probably contributed to the fact that it wasn't popular in America. And of course, Terra Cresta 2 was one of those games that never left Japan. But before we dive in, I would like to say, if you're a fan of space shooters, my studio, Centurion Dragon Studios, released Nova Rebellion a while back. A space shooter where you play as rock and roll space outlaws. You can pick the game up on Steam for about $5. I'll leave a link to it in the description. So, let's get to talking about Terra Cresta 2. So, let's start with the story. Yes, Terra Cresta 2 does have a story, but you'd never know it from actually playing the game. There's absolutely no in-game text, no cutscenes, or anything. I'm pretty sure the only way you would learn about the story is by reading the manual or looking it up online like I did. And yeah, the story has absolutely no bearing on the gameplay whatsoever. So basically, in the cosmic century year 0092, whatever a cosmic century is, Earth is thriving after the space demon King Maldorin was defeated. But right when things calm down, a new invader shows up. The Universal Order of Darkness, Zephyr. They overwhelm the Earth Federation forces, forcing humanity underground and leaving weapon capsules scattered across the planet for the Wing Galbert 2 to pick up. Wing Galbert 2 is the ship you're piloting, by the way. The Terra Cresta team reforms to fight back, only to discover that Maldorin has been resurrected and is actually controlling the Zephyr army. So the Wing Galbert 2 is launched with its new formation system to take him down again. And that's pretty much it. Just your typical arcade story that is completely irrelevant the second you start blasting enemies. As far as the main gameplay of the game, it is very similar to the last Terra Cresta game. In Terra Cresta 2, you're piloting your ship through levels and blasting both enemies in the air and on the ground. And the basics are familiar. Move, shoot, dodge. But the real meat of the game is the formation and power-up system, much like the last game. Throughout each stage, you'll see flying capsules drifting across the screen. Shoot one of them, and the game rewards you with one of 4 ship parts that attach to your craft. Each part gives you extra firepower and wider shot coverage, and most importantly, they act as shields. Each piece is basically an extra hit you can take before dying, which is huge in a game this chaotic. If you manage to collect all 4 parts, the Wing Galbert 2 transforms into a flaming phoenix for a brief moment, and you're completely invincible, and you melt through everything. It's incredibly satisfying, and sometimes, after the Phoenix mode ends, if you press the power-up button, the game starts firing dozens of Phoenix projectiles all at once, like screen-melting levels of Phoenix spam. It slows the console down, it is so intense. And this mode absolutely shreds bosses. But it's inconsistent. Sometimes you get the split formation instead of the Phoenix spam. And I haven't found any documentation explaining why this happens. So if anyone knows, please let me know in the comments down below. Speaking of the power-up button, if you have at least one part attached to your ship, you can press the power-up button to split your ship formation. And your ship pieces break apart and form a triangular formation around you. While they're separated, the parts are invulnerable, but your main ship isn't. If you get hit in this formation, it's instant death. So it's risky, but it's also one of the only ways to attack certain angles or to escape certain traps later in the game. Another thing Terra Cresta 2 improves over its predecessor is the formation customization. So in the first Terra Cresta, you could change your ship parts orientation, but only in general. Like, if you put that ship part in a spot in the formation, regardless of how many ship parts you had, whether that was 4, 5, or 2, that ship part is always going to be in that same formation and shooting in the same direction you told it to. But in the second game, you actually can change all 5 formations and arrange your ship parts to go into certain areas depending on how many of them you have. Meaning, Formation 2 can be completely different than Formation 4. Like, that same part can go to a completely different area than it would in the second formation. It's really cool, and I consider it a massive improvement from the original Terra Cresta. And outside the main campaign, Terra Cresta 2 also includes bonus score attack modes. You got 2-minute score attack and a 5-minute score attack. I didn't spend much time with them, even though they're neat, because the main game is where all the real substance is. You see, Terra Cresta 2 has a surprisingly long and varied campaign. You're not just flying through space. Every level throws you into a completely different environment. You've got ocean stages, volcanic stages, jungle storms, polar ice cap, alien deserts. My personal favorite levels are the lava stage, which ends with you dodging magma erupting from the volcanoes below you, the desert stage, which looks like ancient Egyptian architecture mixed with alien technology, and of course, the level you do right before you do the final level. The throwback level to the original Terra Cresta. Yes, you do the first section of the original Terra Cresta near the end of this game. It's much harder, but a lot of the original enemies make a return, including the dinosaurs, which you could still blast to Kingdom Come. I thought this was an amazing surprise. It came completely out of left field, and I was not expecting it at all. This game keeps things fresh constantly. But the real highlight of the campaign is how intense it gets. There are moments where the screen is absolutely drowning in enemies and projectiles. And when you slip into that perfect dodging rhythm, weaving through bullets and navigating tight spaces, you feel like an absolute badass. It's that Ultra Instinct feeling where everything slows down and you're just in the zone. Terra Cresta 2 nails that sensation better than any other game I have played ever. As for the music, this soundtrack is really good, and the PC Engine's sound hardware is clearly being pushed to its absolute limit. And just so you know, this game does not use the CD add-on. It is solely a cartridge-based console. My favorite musical tracks include the first level theme, the ice level theme, and the final boss theme goes absolutely hard, and I love it. And of course, the main theme, which is just great. It's an amazing track. So yeah, Terra Cresta 2 is really freaking good. At this point, I'm starting to understand why this series actually has a following, because every game I played in this series just keeps getting better and better. Moon Cresta was simple but charming. Terra Cresta expanded the formula. And Terra Cresta 2 feels like the series really leveled up. It honestly sucks that this game never left Japan, because it deserves way more attention. The good news is, you could play the Japanese version with 0 issues. There's basically no text in the entire game outside of the title screen. And pretty much all the text that is here is in English. So you're not missing anything. The difficulty can spike here and there, but you get unlimited continues, which is a huge bonus in a game like this. This is one of the best space shooters I've ever played. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't played a ton of space shooters. Off the top of my head, the only ones I can remember playing are Galaga, Galaxian, Space Invaders, and Ikaruga. Of course, I'm not counting the Cresta games I'm playing for this marathon. But even with my limited experience, Terra Cresta 2 stands out as an amazing title. So if you're into space shooters, give this one a try. Right after you try my game, Nova Rebellion. Hey, I gotta pay the bills somehow. And next week, we're jumping into Terra Cresta 3D. I'm really excited to see where this series goes once it hops into the 3rd dimension. I know basically nothing about this game except the fact that it's on the Sega Saturn and it was a Japanese only release. I've got high hopes for it, so I'll see you guys next week for my review of Terra Cresta 3D. This is Troy Schultz, the Anti-Gamer Slayer, signing off!